thank you all for coming. Thank you for your patience. We are happy to host the final event of a three-part series called Flipping the Script. It was conceived and curated by Zuri and myself. We originally started as graduate students archiving for Rites and Reason Theatre, which is the only historically Black theater on Ivy League campus. What we found was that Providence had a major relationship with Black arts that it doesn't seem to have as much now. And so we were trying to figure out how do we restart a conversation, starting at Brown, but also spreading throughout the Providence metropolitan area to kind of foster this connection between Black arts, Black embodiment, theatricality, Black film and cinema, and community relationships. The first event was in January, it was in February, the second event was in March, yeah, late March, and then this is the final one. Yeah. It's our pleasure to be the second folks to screen Kariyana's film, YUH Mama Gave Yuh.
So yeah, again, thank you all for being here. I met Kari, I remember when I met Kari, actually, a while ago. And they just continue to captivate me with their thoughts and being, like all of that stuff. And it's just been a joy to think of them over the last year and some change. So I'm excited for everyone to see this film. We did a little preview, and I was again just like enjoyed it so much. So yeah, so we're just gonna get into it, and then we're gonna do a 30 minutes book plot afterwards, just to talk to Kari about her process and like all that stuff. So yeah, if you have any questions, that would be the time to ask and everything. So I'm just gonna shut the lights and then.
Yeah, the film speak for itself.
Thank you. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. All over the world, our global universe.
She is Black essence.
I am
fabulous fabulation? When has it come to be to you?
I mean, the same thing that you said. It's like, we all know that there are holes in histories for Black people. I think that what Sadia did was acknowledge that the holes in like the narratives and like the lives of Black women and Black films and like the most marginalized Black folks, that those gaps are like a lot bigger, because those are the people who kind of like are the actual culture bearers, which is why it does go from Venus and 2X into like Wayward Lives. So those narratives, those tales are like of women or femmes or people who at one point like were on stage for people to assess and like were people who like were used to entertain. And so I think that fabulation is something that we do often to kind of like make up for our like fantasies about people. Or like fantasies about stories that we don't know of, especially for people who we want to know but don't. And that's why I wanted to use it in this film. I know that my grandmother sang and was a choir master. Now, I did not know that until I started to like really take my maternal lineage seriously. Like, what was it about gospel music, and specifically like sacred gospel music, so specifically like very, very country southern gospel music that like I liked over contemporary gospel music. And I knew that was because I was raised by older Black women. But what I've come to realize, what I've come to learn is that like that music, like my grandmother being a choir instrument, that she had a hand in like formulating and creating the formulation of that sound, because she was a master. And like she molded my mother into like this to a singer, and like she molded a lot of people in our family into like phenomenal singers. And so when I think about myself and how I kind of like follow in their lineage, but not necessarily, not necessarily, but not necessarily like I feel like, Jesus Christ. I feel like in the ways that she used music to kind of like move and shape our family and keep us together and keep us intact, is also a way that I keep myself together and keep myself intact even in her absence. And so I think that as I've gotten older, I've learned to like honor that. And like, I feel like when I started to honor that, I started to see things in my art change. I think about my grandmother's thoughts about what she could do with the community that people overlooked and didn't pay attention to. And like, I see that in like my cousin's continuation of like our family community choir. I see that like in the continuation of like my mother singing, even in the absence of my grandmother. I see that in my uncle singing. I see that in me like taking music so seriously to like where I study it so closely. Like I believe that that is because of my grandmother And so like infabulating or kind of like using these other Black women who have similar stories where their grandmother kind of like oriented their family and the lineage for whatever reason to economically stabilize, spiritually stabilize their family and fortify like a lineage for themselves. Like I also make that story for myself.
My biggest inspiration, Jonas, has been my mom. My mom sang. She still sings. She just doesn't sing as much as she used to. My mom used to travel and sing solos. She sang with the Silver Voices of Havana, Alabama quartet. And I can, excuse me, I can remember growing up watching my mom sing. And sometimes she would be singing and people would be trying to get her while she was singing. And I never will forget one of the pivotal moments in my life. My mom was singing, and one of the preachers in that area, he had a tendency to grab you. Like if you were really singing, he would grab you or he'd hit you or whatever. And I can remember my mom standing there behind that banister singing, and he stood up on top of the banister and swung at her. I'm talking about hard. And his son grabbed him and his fist missed her face by just a little bit. She opened her eyes because she felt the wind. And I said, dang, I want somebody to do me like that when I sing. That's what I want. So ever since then, I've just wanted to be what my mama was. I always thought she was the most beautiful, the finest, and then she could say, I just thought she was amazing. So I wanted to be like my mom. I wanted to be like my mom.
So glad to be. That's too loud. That's too loud. Yeah, let's go up in the key. I'm sorry, but it's too low. Good morning, Jesus. Come on.
How the days went, while you were blooming within me, I remember each upon each, the swelling, changed flames of my body, and how you first fluttered, then jumped, and I thought it was my heart. How the days wound down in the turning of winter, I recall with you
growing heavy against the wind. I thought, now her hands are warm. Now her hair has started to curl. Now her teeth are done. Now she sneezes. Then the seed opened. I bore you one morning, just before spring. My head rang like a fiery piston. My legs were towers between which a new world was passing.
My time. And my memories with my mothers has always been marked because we are marked women. And because of that, before I was even born, it feels like some days it feels like it will always be marked, and it will always be marked. And sometimes that's a tough pill to swallow. A lot of the times. Ask you if I had your consent to put you in my film.
Yes.
I told you was gonna look at me like I was crazy. What?
No, because it's only right.
Why it's only right?
Because if I do this damn thing and the damn thing say, okay, I don't want to do nothing, and you just say, oh shit. So I accept it's for you.
I just wanted to ask. Because my professor was like, do you have your mother's consent to put her in your film? And I was like, she owe me.
Of course. I'll do that.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
I know my grandma would push me around here, but I can't do it.
Oh my God, you have no idea. You gonna wake up in the morning with all kind of hope with your mom. Well, it came to saying your grandmama didn't play.
I also don't know a lot about my grandma, so, yeah.
You know who?
My grandmother.
She's bad. She's bad.
What does that mean?
Now, I used to think she was mean because she had this mean demeanor on her. But she wasn't. She was.
I feel like that's how everybody feel about me.
That's where you get it from. That's exactly where you get it from. For real. For real, because I mean, if you didn't really know Wanda, you would think the same thing. That she didn't, but that was just Aunt Mary. That was how she was. She was sweet. And she wanted to be, she'll do whatever she can for you. She wasn't going to put up with no damn foolishness, though. Aunt Mary could sing, and Uncle Brother could sing, and Wanda could sing Vic. I was young then. But you know what I'm saying? She came around and said, "Mama gotta make it thing." Understanding all of the things. The reason your mama sang it the way she did was because of your problem. What? I married a place you wanted when she might whoop your ass for not singing right.
Like, I know that my girl said, I know that she was like a choir director, but I just don't know. I didn't know nothing.
You should have called her a choir master. There's a difference between a choir director and a choir master. She was a choir.
So in terms of the work of honoring, which sometimes I think of also as a form of daughtering, it's a life work. It's a wondering. I mean, sometimes with Jackie herself, it's like, you know, Jackie's like, there's this obscure book on Vodou, find it and get it to me, you know, like, you know, things like that. Like anything that will further her being able to do her work must happen, right? Like Nikki Finney said to Tony Pickambara, when Tony Pickambara, as she was getting ready to transition out of this life and asked for paper, Nikki Finney was like, I love trees, but I will cut down any tree such that you have paper, such that you can write whatever it is that you need to write. And I feel like that's a daughter posture that I identify very strongly.
She opened her eyes, she felt the wind.
So how is by every means necessary and every means possible. And I think I'm always still discovering, well, what is that? To be able to be in an intergenerational relationship with living Black feminists is great because you can actually listen and people can make requests or I can make offers and that feels really good. And when it comes to our ancestors, someone like Audre Lorde, for example, or Tony Guevara, it's more of a spirit love story listening. And I don't know, I mean, it sounds like the communications and the requests are just as loud, actually, honestly, for me. So it's a mode of receiving, it's a mode of offering, it's a claiming of lineage, it's again abundant in a way that it will never be complete. Because what I have received is so expansive that all the rest of the years that I have will not be enough to truly honor it in my opinion of how much it should be honored. And then that's the point, because it has to become collective, right? It has to become and remain intergenerational. And I have to be accountable for people being able to access that legacy through whatever I create.
It's actually not done.
I think my first road, I was 16 years old, man. Hey, man, let me tell you something, man. Don't let nobody tell you can't chase your dreams or do what you want to do, man. It's out there for you to get it, man. See this man out here getting it, man. We out here getting it, putting their faith. Man, it's, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say how many years later on it is, but it's a whole 100 years later, you know what I'm talking about? We still looking good in the hood, you know what I'm talking about? Tabernacle Sanctuary, alligator souffle. What they doing was cathedral. Cathedral.
Get another chair. You're getting this one. Yeah. So we're just gonna move into the talk back. Sure. We all sit in the front.
Yeah, we're all sit. It's not just you. Okay. Okay, yeah. Is this going to turn off this projector? That's not you.
Oh, no. I'm scared. I'm screaming. Here, turn the video off. Okay, good. Okay. Can y'all hear us okay? In the chat, can you tell us? Okay, great. Yeah. You don't want to sit up there?
I need to make sure that how
Or introduce yourself first. Tell us a little about yourself. And then
I'm gonna ask you a question.
okay. Okay.
Thank you. Because
I think it would be great if you introduce yourself. Zuri, I don't think you introduce yourself to people. I mean, I know you. I introduce myself. And I would love to start with just like an opening to kind of ground everyone and kind of bring us all into the space, because I want it to seem and to feel conversational. I don't want it to seem like this formal talk. You have Alexis Pauline-Rems in the video, and I recently attended a workshop with her where she asked us to bring in a living ancestor or figure into the space with us. And given the fact that we're going to be talking about motherhood, maternity, Black womanhood, after our introductions, we would go around the room and everyone offer a maternal figure, preferably a Black woman who has helped shape you into who you are today, who has inspired you, or someone you just kind of want to honor just for the time being. I'd really appreciate it. How's that sound?
I'll go first. My name is Kariyana Calloway-Scott. Kariyana Calloway-Scott. What else? You know my memories.
Where are you from?
I'm from Decatur, Georgia.
Yeah.
I don't even go to Bird anymore. I just recently graduated from Bird University. What else?
And ancestor of the Jew.
Okay, my mom. So my mom has So in this film, I use the word mothers because I have multiple mothers. I was raised by my father's mother, and she has like 12 tattoos, multiple piercings, and she came for my graduation, and I was like, Mom, I need you to let me get a pair of earrings. And she was like, because I think she's a little autistic, so like, she be needing her little things, and so I feel like her earrings are her thing. So today I made sure that I wore multiple earrings because I have 3 earring holes.
Yeah.
So I made sure I wore 3 earrings to honor her. So I'm calling my mom in. I'm gonna call her. I can call that bitch in right now. But yeah.
So next. Hi everyone, my name is Melaine Ferdinand-King. I am a 5th-year doctoral candidate in the Department of Africana Studies here at Brown. Originally from New Jersey. The mother or the maternal figure I'd like to evoke. I do 2. One, my mother. I wouldn't be anywhere without her. And I think she might be on the call, so hey mom. And my great grandmother, she's in Jersey, about to be 90, my Nana Ali. I just feel like she's real quiet. She doesn't talk much. I can't get maybe a 60-second phone call out of her for any given holiday, any given time I call, but she will answer my FaceTime every time, but it'll be like 59 seconds long. And so I appreciate her for giving us that.
Yeah.
Go.
My name is Zuri. He's he, him, and then pronouns.
Use your pronouns.
If you want to. Yes. 3rd year in the Department at Brown, African Studies program. And I would uplift I have my mom and my grandma. I'll pick my grandma today. My grandma Leela. Yeah, she just like, this past Mother's Day, we all went to Atlanta, and we went to a music festival together, and saw like Lauryn Hill, and like Coco Jones, and Summer Walker, and it was just a really fun time seeing her like dance, with the like security people, and like whatever, and was like really like, she was the most lit out of my mom, my brother, and me. She was the most lit, so I was like, she be in the house. So the moment she's out of the house, I'm just really appreciative for her, the time that she took to shape me as a kid. So we'll start here, just say your name and we're saying your name and elder that you want to uplift that you're holding with you.
My father.
Hi, I'm Barney. Normally an elder, with my sister. We have like 5 kids. So, kind of like a maternal figure, maybe not me, but the kids. Yeah, that's one of those times.
Hi, my name is Chase. My name is Chase. I don't have my healing pronouns. I would like to shout out my family. Janice on my mother's side. She died pretty young for my mother. She was like 18 or something like that. She got cancer. I'm shouting her out specifically because of the fact that she didn't want life. And I without her, I wouldn't be able to do these things. So.
My name is Juan. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a third year student in English, and probably still an elder. I don't know my family very well, so I will uplift my undergraduate mentor, Lois Brown. She's a historian, was a historian at Wesley University, and without her, and she's I probably wouldn't be 90.
What's up, y'all? My name is Ray. I'm going to uplift my babysitter, actually. She's like this 95-year-old woman, moved to the town where I'm from. And, recently, I was a little bit snippy with her. She was like, "Honey, you're not being like yourself." And I don't know, like her family doesn't really fuck with her, so she's like, "Y'all are my family. Don't be snippy with me. I'm your family." And so she's kind of my stand-in grandparent, and I think I should be more appreciative. So I'm bringing that to the space.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole. I'm gonna uplift my mother.
My name is Kiara. I would like to uplift my great-grandmother, Mama Dia. She passed away a few months ago, and she started what I feel like is my family on this educational journey, because she was born in the early 1900s, and she made sure my grandmother got her high school education in college, and now I'm just trying to build upon that, keep one-upping my mom and my grandmother. So yeah, pushing my Mama.
My name is Michelle. I'm a first year MFA student, and I also have multiple mothers, so I guess I would like to uplift them all. Really anybody who gave me food when I was a kid, who's an elderly woman, I consider a mother, and that care and sustenance, I think, is an important aspect to why I'm here today. So.
My name is Denali, and I'm having a difficult time figuring out which one to uplift, so I also will be a mother's baby, also bringing into the space, particularly my great-grandmother who's still alive, and turning 98 this year, and all that she's done for our family. I'm Brianna, and I'm going to name a trio of aunties, Lois, Edna, and Gwen.
Hello, I'm Trisha. I'm a fifth-year grad student in Department of Chemistry. I'd like to shout out my grandmother. She died in 2017. And I felt like she was the one who started to break the generational curse in my family.
Hi, my name is Kamari. I want to bring my mother into the space. She's been
process of making the film, just about what you, the process of making the film, what the film means to you.
Let's do one more.
Okay, let's start with the film.
I can't do too much.
Okay.
So do one thing at a
Let's start with what the film means to you.
What the film means to you.
Yeah.
Originally, so in the film, there's like these the film, I'm a montage artist. So the film moves in different caveats. Originally, the caveats were supposed to say, this is an altar. And my professor, who is like my first ever like video art professor, was like, this isn't an altar. Like an altar is da 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 and da 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 da. And I was like, bitch, and the altar is like whatever the fuck I say it is. But I think that with her giving me critiques, and also like her giving me critiques during the editing time, that it helped me to realize that it was an altar, yes, because I wanted it to be a place where people also put down things that they care about and their thoughts and their feelings. So I guess my feeling is that the film is an altar to me, but for me it's also an offering to my ancestors. Part of my like practice and the way that I think about art is through the way that I was raised. I was raised by my dad's mom because my mother was like brutalized and like had 7 kids. One of them was severely abled, so like the state got involved, and I was the only one that was sent to live with my father's mom, and my other siblings were sent to live with my mother's mom, who like passed on. And yeah, I didn't play so far. It's how long is it? It's been 5 minutes. But my family grew up very, very poor, like not working class poor. Like working class poor is some of it, but like the portion of my family grew up poor. And so when I look at other artists, specifically like popular artists who have like videos, images of themselves as children, and then I'm like, okay, I feel real deep in my spirit that I could be famous. I feel like I could be, and I want to be famous. I want to be famous. I'm not like you other bitches. But I feel like I was astonished when I was watching the Little Baby when I was watching the Little Baby documentary, and he had all of these videos of him like being a little kid. And I was like, nigga, I thought you grew up in the trenches. Like he like, I ain't had shit, da da da. And you know, I'm like, nigga, y'all could afford a video camera, bitch. Like y'all could afford to get that shit developed. Y'all didn't have like a storage that maybe had pictures in it that got lost. Like we don't have that. So for me, the film also is like, and which is also why I use fabulation as a frame, is like my family's intro into like a family video. They always used to be like, Kariyana always had a camera in our face, and they still hated it. And I'm like, we don't have pictures of ourselves. Like we don't have videos. Like we don't have favorite videos. Like I look at other artists and I'm like, when they do the E Hollywood special on me, when they do my E Hollywood special, what they gonna do? You know, like when they do, you know, when artists be like, they grew up like this, they gonna have 2 pictures of me. And they gonna be from the same vacation. So I'm like, let me try to change the culture of the way that people, or like the way that people frame my narrative, like let me have more autonomy over my narrative. So I also want to say that the film means to me, and the film is to me like an archive, like a fabulated archive that I've had to do because of like state sexual violence and capitalism and anti-blackness.
Alright. Let's start with the beginning then. So the beginning of the film, pitch black.
Pitch black.
Music, singing, we begin in a womb. So can you speak more as to why you wanted to start the film with that? And then you didn't necessarily end it with the womb either. So like what does the space of the womb do for you? And I also think that it's a very sensitive topic, given I feel like a lot of times when people think of Black women and maternity, one of the major themes among nurturing or strength or sacrifice is also lack of agency and lack of autonomy. And that's really real for me. So what does the womb and beginning in that space do for you?
There are 2 things. There are a few things. So I'm going to start at the tech, like at the film. So I started working on this project 3 years ago. And when I started working on the film, I was just writing my thesis on the gospel quartet. And my mom got sick and had a stroke that almost killed her. So that's why you hear in the call with us that she isn't that there's some dissonance in her cognitive ability to be able to articulate. And so then I got sick. And so I had this thing called pseudotumor cerebri. And for the whole first couple of months of last year, in my ears while I'm trying to write this thesis, I hear this whooshing sound. And it sounds like a womb. It sounded like what the inside of your body sound like. And so what pseudotumor cerebri is this, it's liquid that collects in your brain. And so every now and then liquid will connect into my brain and it'll just stay there. And so it'll affect my hearing. So for the first, while I'm trying to articulate language about this thesis, all I can literally hear is this whooshing that sounds like a womb. So literally every day for 6 months until I was able to get the spinal tap that it took to relieve the pressure from that water in my head. I was just hearing that sound while I was working on it. So that's the first thing, is the way that audio, I felt like it was my ancestors, to be very honest, and I don't know if that sounds crazy, but it's I had pseudotumor cerebri before I got to college, but it just randomly popped up and I'm hearing a womb in my head every day when I wake up. And so I'm okay, girl, I don't know which one of y'all what the fuck this is, but okay, I'm gonna just go with it, I'm gonna go with it. The second thing is that when I was doing the research, that video where, I'm gonna say names because I know these people, because I've read the work, where Crystal is singing and patting her stomach. And it's also orating and singing, every time I sing it, when I feel my baby moving. And I think about how I just grew up just knowing having this deep connection to music. And like knowing so like just I don't know, like every woman in my family has this very, very deep connection to music. And so I infabulated and curated this narrative. Initially I was not trying to put myself into the story about this film. I was just trying to talk about the little quartet child. But I felt like my ancestors was just like, bitch, keep playing with me, and we gonna beat your ass. And that's how my ancestors stop. Like, bitch, if you don't talk about us, we gonna beat your ass. So I was like, okay, how do I do this? So I thought about like what it would like. My mother, I was in my mother's room when my mother was like singing, and people were like praying over my mother because my family was very religious. So in creating that sound, it started off with me like layering, literally me. Because when I first was like, I would need to create sound for this film, I reached out to Ray, and Ray was like, I can help you. And I was like, okay, then I reached out to Kamari and Zuri, and they were like, we can do this, Kamari did a phenomenal job, Zuri did a phenomenal job. But when it was time for me to make that, I had to do that myself because only I knew what that sound in my head felt like. Only I could articulate what like it sounds like in the dead of night in Georgia. So you also hear like nighttime and you hear praying. And so like growing up, that is how I saw babies come into this life. When the baby was being born, it was somebody in the room on their face, screaming, crying. I was to say screaming, crying, like parading this baby earthside. And so I was just like, okay, like that is a sonic making space, like Crystal tapping her stomach, and then like her daughter Carson coming out and being able to like be in tune and matching pitch with her just by like hearing her mother sing in her ear, which comes after that, is like indicative of like her patting on her stomach and her singing while the baby was in the womb, and like that being the making space for the child that comes forward to sing after the mother is already singing. And I'm like, okay, so that's like a thing that is happening. Like the grandma doing it, the mom doing it, the sister, like now everybody in this bitch is singing because everybody is singing and patting their stomachs and singing together. So I was just like, this is it, that's it. And then you asked me about the end. What specifically about the end?
Well, why did you end the end of the movie?
Or did you hit
Girl, shut up. No, I ended with Shake What Your Mama Gave You, which I'm so embarrassed about. Even now, I'm so embarrassed because I'm like, damn, that song is so fucking like, come on, shut that, like just so. But like for me, like that is the song that my auntie taught me how to shake my ass to. So like as a Southerner and like as a Southern fan, like they thought that I was gonna be like a super fan, and I am in some ways. But like my auntie taught me to shake my ass to that song, and like we were riding around Atlanta. I was born in 1996, so right, I was born in 1996. So like that was the music that when I was in my mother's womb, that like even if she wasn't like in the car, my grandma was not playing that. But it's like if she was driving past a car and they on their way to Freaknik.
I'm about to say
you know, like they on their way to Freaknik. Her friends, my mom was not going to Freaknik because my mother is really religious, but like in passing, my mother is hearing these songs she's like with my dad, so my dad is playing these songs. Like for me, that's it all. This movie is also a part of the trilogy, but I ended with Shake What Your Mama Gave You because I gotta move into the next film, and yeah, that's where it starts.
I wanted to talk about method.
Yeah,
I wanted to know. I know collaging is really important for you.
yeah.
Collage is really important for you, and you make like really cool, collages, like 2D collages. And in this, it was another way that there was a lot of like collaging with like different media, different times, different all of that stuff. So if you just talk about like what collaging kind of like allows you to do, because it is something that seems to cross board. Like this is like a movie collage, versus like a 2D collage. So like, what does collaging allow you to do?
My professor told me to stop saying collage.
What's the term?
Montage.
Oh, montage. Okay.
So I'm a montage artist. I'm just.
So what is your favorite?
Right, exactly. No, it's me. Anyway, but it's literally because we don't have no pictures. Like we don't have shit. Like my family is that like we were the people that y'all be reading about in the books, like the subsidized housing, the free lunch people. That's who we was. So like my mom will like put our stuff in the storage and then my mom will put our pictures in the storage and then wouldn't be able to afford to pay for the storage. So we don't have any pictures. And like that is something that that is a reality for a lot of Black people, is like not having the institutional access to an archive. So for me, I like to put images together, like I said, in an effort to create. I'm also a Scorpio, and very manipulative. So any way that I can manipulate without hurting somebody in the process, I'm trying. I tried. Yeah. The collaging, the 2D collaging happened randomly. Like, I would always have a collage in my room growing up as a child. Like, I would fill the whole wall with magazine stuff. Like, and it got better and better as I learned about Tumblr. I was able to sit here on Tumblr, print out my Tumblr pictures. And it kind of slowly was a practice. And then when my mom got sick, I just was in my bed, staring at the walls, listening to my mom's favorite songs, because we thought that my mom was gonna die. So I opened up that Canva app, and I downloaded the images from Tumblr, and I started putting shit together. And then I don't know who I sent it to first. I think I sent it to Ray first.
Oh, that was it.
No, that was me letting the state intervene. That was me letting the state intervene. But I don't know who I sent it to, but somebody was like, "This really, really good." Was it you? You were the first person I sent it to. Yeah, maybe. And Ray was like, "Bitch, when did you start doing this?" And I was like, "Last week." I was like, "Last week." And he was like, "This shit is good as hell." And so then I started actually being like, okay, I want to take my art practice seriously. And then Ray was doing films, and I was just like, I want to do what Ray did, but I want to do it better.
Good job.
And stepped on. I almost feel this heat. I'm not gonna lie. But
so it's going to the archive.
Hey y'all, it's me. But yeah, I don't have videos of my mom. Ideally, I would have liked to have videos that video of my mom singing at that church, which was like another church that I grew up going to, was like a video that my brother reposted. Like, damn, I'll never be able to hear my mom sing like this again because I don't want to ever be able to sing like that again. So it was like me just sourcing images, like doing what I do all the time, like on Instagram, on Facebook. And people are like, Kariyana is always glued to her phone, and I'm like, actually, I'm saving pictures from number. Actually, like I'm bookmarking videos that I would someday put into a film.
So you are glued to your phone.
I am glued to my phone. Like that is my methodology. Is being glued to my phone, curating and sourcing images and videos. And like I said, I'm telling y'all, like this film came, I don't know who in my family, but it's just like it literally came from the fucking ethers. Like I don't know. And the collage came from the ethers because I just, like I said, I was printing out my pictures on Tumblr and I was just taping them on my wall. But then I got in Canva and I was like, oh shit. And now, as an art student, I'm like, oh shit. There are like so many things that you can do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not gonna tell myself no.
Responding to you saying this comes from ether, can you talk a little bit more about what it means to be a marked woman? Because you call yourself a marked woman, you feel like your time is marked and your memories are marked. And I think I feel what you mean, but I like to do it.
What do you think I mean by that?
A number of things. What I feel that you meant was that as Black women, there was already an expectation for us to come into the world and do something. Very limited and very specific, which is to provide a service, to stay in one section of life or one area of life, to talk to a certain type of people or not to talk at all, and to be of use but not of our own volition. That's what I think you mean. But when you say that you are a marked woman and then your time, your memories are also marked, and you kind of have like this temporal kind of I guess you're evoking time in a very specific way. You're evoking that line, that lineage in a very specific way. I don't know what that means to you.
That is literally Spillers. I told you it started off as pieces, and I was thinking about the morning report and how British Spillers flipped that on top of its head with Mama's Baby, Mama's Baby. And you see that in the film where like I put Mary's Baby. It's also in Jesus' name, Mary's Baby, Mama's Baby, blah blah blah. And so that was kind of like a thing that I used throughout the entirety of this. But that is Spillers. In the first paragraph, she's like, I'm a marked woman. So I think that, I don't know, the type of language that I would use to describe that. I'm scared to use the language that I want to use because I don't. But because it's really, really deeply painful. It's like rooted in this like deeply painful past. But it's the truth. So I mean, like, what is good is just like the markings on the flesh. Like when a good is like, I'm gonna try to say this in the most least graphic way because I'm like when I think about Spillers, it's like slavery. And I just don't want to take us to and I don't want to be like so fucking graphic that it's like disgusting to hear about. I want for us to be able to sit with it and think about it. But it's like, you know, when you go to the grocery store and you buy a can of soup and the can of soup got dents in it. And like, you know, you try to go to the counter and be like, this can of soup got dents in it, so let me get a few dollars off. You know, y'all probably never did that before. Or like if you go to a store and you try to buy something and it got a stain on it or it got a hole on it and it's like, you know, let me get a few dollars off. Yeah. And so by that I mean like the women in my family are like women who have been used and abused as water spillers, like that is me saying it very loosely, like that is me being very, very gentle with the gravity of mama's baby, papa's baby. And what I believe water spillers was trying to evoke is like the depiction of not even a gender. I don't even think that she was saying like woman, capital W, but just like we're marked, our flesh is marked, and like
it's like the way that gender only marks the way that violence snaps off the body,
right?
Rather than naming something that you gain,
right? And therefore, because of that, my relationship with my mother is marked. So, like because of my mother's pain, like that pain is my pain, plus the pain that I have. And how that pain also marks the memories. So it's like when I think about my mother and our relationship, I can think about like my mom, like being in the house, like if you look at the zine, y'all have the zine, maybe y'all want to pass the zine around. But when I think about my mom, when I think about my mother and I think about our relationship, you can pass it around so that people can see it. But there are you know that I cannot concentrate. Yeah, when I think about memories that I have with my mom, or when I think about my childhood, like I'm like, ooh, yeah, I remember that time. Like I could talk for hours about what a Saturday in my childhood was like. It was like we woke up at 7 o'clock. My mama had to take my auntie to work. We drove around. My mama turned on Simon Baby, which was a radio station because radio was really popular in Atlanta. We would go to the thrift store. We'd be at the thrift store all goddamn motherfucking day. And then at 7 o'clock, we would go and pick my mom up from work. We would stop at the McDonald's down the street and we would go home. And so me and my little sister in the back seat dancing to OJ's, my mama singing, she used to be my girl to us, you know, like those things, but I now in my adulthood know, like, my mama was dropping my auntie off at work so that because my mom had to get a job when she was really young, so that she could pay bills. And that like we were riding around every day because like we were riding around to the thrift stores so that we could buy furniture for our house. So like when little white kids are like riding around with their moms at Target and they're like, Mom, can you go to Target and give me something from Starbucks? It's like we was in the back seat eating whatever was in my own purse and running around the thrift store like digging into like Confederate soldiers fucking vanities and shit. And I didn't know that. I didn't know what I was doing then, but I'm like now I'm like damn, like I was digging in some old racist white lady's bag that she donated to the fucking Salvation Army. And I was like, Mom, can you buy me this bag? Like, Mom, can you buy me this bag? Got the American flag on me. Like, and not knowing as a child, like what the fuck I was doing. And as I got older, I'm like, fuck, we were poor as shit. Like, we were struggling like fuck. And so, like, to know. So when I think back, so now as an adult, as an older girl still, I like think back on the memories from my childhood, and I think about the way that the decisions that plenty of people, like my granddad that killed, my grandfather killed our slave master. And I think about how that affected the entire trajectory of our entire family bloodline. And so that's what I mean when I'm like, I'm a marked woman, my mother is a marked woman. Like, the same granddaddy, I found out from talking to my cousin Twan, who was also featured in these. I just found out all the family tea. That's really what I was trying to get to. But I found out from my cousin Twan that my same granddad that killed our enslaver killed my mother's dad because he hit my grandmother. So he hit my grandmother, and my grandmother came to my mom and my great grandmother's and my great granddad's house. And the man came to the house, my granddad. I'm saying the man, never seen his man in my life. He came to the house, and my granddaddy shot him and killed him. And so it's like, I was not present for that memory, but that memory marked the entire trajectory of my life because I didn't have a grandfather. My grandmother grew up without a father because of abuse and violence. So that's what I mean when I'm like,
the structural mark.
Yeah, we are marked women. Our memory, everything that we do is marked because the way that we cook the chicken, and the way that we do our hair, the way that we talk to our friends, the way that we interact with our lovers, the way that we interact with, all of that shit is because of other shit. Yeah. So, yeah.
Now that thinking with that scholars, I say these scholars,
right.
She's like, I wrote other
That's
shit.
it.
She's like, I wrote other shit.
Right.
I respect that. I say, but
I feel like I would like to see you.
But for me, I'm thinking a lot about some of your work notes for me, as an ambivalent gender man. Think about one of the last lines of the essay, where it's the African American male is one of the few that's able to have a close encounter with the mother and say yes to female within. And so watching your video, hear you talk about being marked and thinking about what does it mean to not be a black woman but recognize you come from also marked women nonetheless, right? And over Christmas break, I was home with my mom and grandma. We were talking about my grandma. She has dementia, so she's always recounting the same memories, it's fine. But I used to go to Walmart when I was literally 6, 7 years old. She used to work at Walmart, and I used to go to Walmart and work with her. And looking back, I was like, oh, I hope your grandma, she was give me $20 a day, I was like, I was like, where was the child labor law? Where was I was moving freight and
and they needed that extra.
And they needed that extra.
They
I was 6 years old. But I was thinking about the work ethic that I got from them.
Yeah.
And the way that I watched them work so hard, and then it turns out my mom was like, oh yeah, she used to take me to work when she worked at CVS downtown.
Exactly.
And so I'm and then I watch my mom and I watch her work so hard, and I'm then I look at myself this semester, I'm nigga, you're working so fucking hard.
Yeah. And it doesn't even be intentional.
It's not even.
It's and that's why I had to do blood memory.
Yeah.
Because when A.B. was talking about blood memory, he was when I move, Revelations as a dance is the memory of literally my foot out, my arm stretched, is the memory of the way that I walk, Like I look exactly like my grandmother. I'm built like my body, my breast, my stomach, like exactly like my mother. Like mama's baby, daddy's mouth, everything. So I'm just like physically and also metaphysically and emotionally like all the same shit. All the same shit. Yeah.
I think about this. So, a scene in your film that I'm still thinking through was the scene of the woman giving birth, and it was cut with the woman who was convulsing, raptured, and then Audre Lorde in the middle. And I think what was interesting about it was almost the gentleness of that scene, in contrast to what I usually hear about childbirth as this traumatic experience that it is. And I guess I opened that up because now knowing that you're born in 96, I was also born in 96, in this time of our lives, and as someone who also, I come from a matriarchal lineage, firstborn woman 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
So it's like my mother and her mother were all firstborn. So it comes with certain responsibilities, and then a certain thought of like motherhood at this particular type of age. Do you want to be a mother? Do you feel a responsibility to be a mother? Like, do you feel like part of your legacy is to give birth?
What do you mean? Like literally?
What is your thought about motherhood? About being a Black mother?
I think that I am a mother. I think that gets me in trouble a lot. Because I'm always like, do what I said, and that's it. But, and like that gets me in trouble because it's like, bitch, you're not like, bitch. And I be like, I'm sorry. I do want to like actually physically bear a child. I don't know if I'll be able to because I have some reproductive issues. But I would love to if I can. I was there for the birthing of my cousin, who was raised as my little sister because we were literally raised together. Like I was there at 5, like, oh my God, like girl, why is your coochie bleeding? Like what is going on? Like they would love to tell that story about me looking over at my auntie coochie being like, girl, what the fuck is going on? And I feel like that is how I was mothered. I was mothered in a way that like I was like mothered to be a mother. So I just feel like everything that I do, like when people go to my house, I'm like, take your shoes off, sit down, have you eaten today? Let's eat. Let's, one time I went to a great house, the oven wasn't on. Cool, we gonna cook the food on the grill. How do you make macaroni and cheese on the grill? Where did I make macaroni and cheese on the grill? I did it, right? So it's just like I feel like I was indoctrinated into being a mom, and so I don't feel like I have a choice because I feel like it just like, and I really sometimes I hate it because I'm like, there is no reason why I should care about this person that is sitting in front of me, but I do. I don't feel the pressure of age in a way that I feel like a lot of my friends do. A lot of my specifically like straight heterosexual friends. Because I recognize how queerness changes the narrative of mothering. So like I said, I am a mother. Because I got my own kids with me. Everybody here who is with me is here. Right, my kids is here. Venus, Cass, all the niggas younger than me. I'm the oldest one in the car right now. So I gotta make sure we get home safe. And I gotta make sure we eat when we leave here. So it's just like, that's just something that I don't even, and because I was prepared for it, I don't even have anxieties about it. And people are always like, you're gonna be such a great mom. I'm like, child, I don't think that I'm gonna pull a baby out of my coochie. I'm so sorry. After like going through a year of like having to keep words, reproductive issues ever. Like I'm just like I don't think I could do it. Would love to. Would still do it if I could, and if I can. But in that sense, I don't know. We'll see. But I think that I mother every day. I mother myself. I've had to. In the absence of like my mother's, like being 1,000 miles away from home. In the absence of my mothers who had to like work to be able to pay the bills, like I've always had to do that. So I think that I don't know. I feel like it's literally just like Kariyana is mother. Like I've always been on the kid of God, It's always been my team.
I have so many questions, but I feel like you should do a show with the folks.
I think my last question, I would be a good pessimist when I ask a question on violence. Well, I think it was just interesting the way that violence comes up in these different ways. What are the ways?
Violence.
So like the violence, like you mentioned, like the structural violence, the structural violence that that structures the womb itself, right? And structures birth as we come into the world. But then these other interesting ones where like you get hit for singing well, and then you get hit for not singing well.
Yeah.
So it's like violence either way, And so what does that mean?
Yeah, because Twan was like, if my grandma might beat your ass. He was telling the story about because my grandmother had 4 children, which I also found out that I had an aunt that died at the age of 5. Did not know that. My uncle sings down, mama sings down. We don't know if my aunt Tanisha would have been able to sing because she didn't live long enough. My auntie Tammy cannot sing. And if you listen to the rest of the audio, he talks about like the first time my auntie Jeannie was like, go up there and sing so you can get the solo. Because nobody in my family had heard her sing before. And my auntie went up there and she was singing. And my grandma was like, girl, get your ass. They were in the church. And my grandma was like, get your ass the fuck out of here. Like, kids are out of the church. Like, get the fuck out of here because you playing.
Yeah.
And for my grandmother, it was like, girl, like, you be by this piano, like, Wanda and Fred be by the piano and your ass be too. What the fuck is your problem? And it was because my auntie was just, people thought she was gay.
Oh my.
It was because my auntie was gay and she was just like, girl, do you think that I want to be sitting here singing about the Holy Ghost when I can go be fucking? She was the oldest.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't want to do this.
But then there was also the one that was interesting where she was talking about how the preacher would hit people for singing well.
I heard mom. She was talking about that. Like, I don't know. Which I was just like, which that is a thing. There's this, there is, and I was trying to find videos of it, but it's so hard to fucking find videos now on YouTube. But there's this thing that the Clark sisters do in their family where like, whenever Karen was singing, or whenever Dorinda was singing, or whenever any of the Clark sisters would sing, one of their husbands or like one of the men in their family would throw a white towel at them. So like it's videos. Somebody called me. So it's videos of like them just like people have done like compilations of like them just getting white towels thrown at them after they sing that. And I've seen stuff like that, like.
But not like that's crazy.
I have seen stuff like that.
You
like,
seen that too?
Yeah, like I've seen people like walk up and. Like, y'all ain't never seen that video where their little boy was
I was thinking about that, yeah.
And their mother, like, went up and grabbed him. Yeah. Like, stuff like that be happening. And my little brother Xavier sings. And there would be times where people would be, like, walking up to him. And we would have to be like, girl, what are you, like, what is going on? Yeah. And so, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's been hard for me to decipher what that is. Because, like, in a context where, like, someone is dancing and you hit them because they're doing something wrong, and somebody is dancing and you hit them because they're doing something right, I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like what is the origin of that? What is the, and I don't think that it's really, really fine. I think that it's really, really clear and really, really definite that like it's something that's deeply spiritual and deeply moving. But I think that the violence, even when it's like, I'm hitting you because you're doing terrible, it's also like, because this work is very, very deeply and very, very moving, like you have to take it seriously. Like don't just come up here, if you know you can't do it, don't motherfucking do it. Yeah. And I think that that's where it comes from. I think that specifically. I can't speak about nothing else. I don't know anything about nothing else. But I think for that specifically, it's like about the gifts and taking it seriously and that black excellence thing, you know. I don't know about that.
Like that young.
I got one more on it then. And one more and then we'll open it up.
Yeah.
I guess it's like a closing.
Mm-hmm.
I think as Black people, and I'm speaking specifically of like Black American Negroes, like African American descendant of slaves, like we sit a lot in loss and a lot in grief and a lot of pain about fractured or tattered, fragmented memories. What was the moment for you? And I know you said there was an ancestral calling, but I'm thinking more about like those of us who are in the space who like care about what you have to say and are also creatives or thinkers or scientists and folks who create life in their own right. What was the moment for you when you were called to do this, like before you even started it, and why was it absolutely necessary for you not to sit in the fact that your memories were erased and for you to rectify that?
Oh my gosh. I was gonna talk about this in the film, but I'm just so scared to talk about it. So it was 2021. It's 2022, this 2023. So it's 2021, 2022. 2021. It was in 2021. And I got the thesis in 2021. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna write the thesis. So I'm like doing research, Black Quartet. I set up. So the groups that I was looking at and the people who are in the film. So in the film it's like Krishan Smith of the Anointed Brown Singers, and then it's Lisa Knowles Smith of the Anointed of the Brown Singers and their in-laws. So that's where the Smith comes from. So I was like thinking about them. I had interviewed Lisa. I was like working on interviewing Krishan, and I had booked a ticket to go to this like concert, this quartet concert. I had already gone to a gospel quartet concert. And if you've ever been to a gospel quartet concert, my God, this evening. That shit is the longest shit. This shit is all day long. It's 1,000 groups. And I don't know how women be having, it's like Apollo on crack. And I was like sitting at these things all day with these concerts, these men taking, it was crazy, it was scary. But so I had planned, so the month of October, I'm a Scorpio. My birthday is October 23rd. The week before my birthday is my dad's mom's birthday, October 16th. So I was supposed to, I had already scheduled to go to Survivor Fest, which is a concert that the Brown Singers have for survivors of breast cancer. Because Lisa Knowles' mother had breast cancer, and her cancer has been in remission for like 20 years. And so every year they have a concert to raise funds to give funding to families who deal with like members of their family who like have cancer. So like for example, like when her mother was dealing with cancer, like they would have to stay at hotels because she needs to go to this cancer center on this side of town, and they didn't have money for it. So they were like, okay, once we get into a place where we can afford to be able to take care of them, then we're gonna have Survivor Fest. So I had signed up to go to the Survivor Fest, booked the hotel, did everything. boom, a week before Survivor Fest, my Aunt Annabelle dies of a stroke. And at that point in the work, I was like sending voicemails every week to friends, like talking through it, struggling, like I can't write this. I'm not gonna be able to write 60 pages. Like I can't. Like I was struggling really bad with the work, and it is a tradition in my family that when someone dies, because everybody in my family sings, like Twan said, Vic sang, Cindy sings, everybody in my family sings. It's a tradition in my family that the entire family sings in the choir at the funeral. And because I went to school in Boston, I've missed a lot of events. And so I was like, do I want to go to this practice? And it was at our family church. And our family church is in like Brookhaven, Georgia, which is like northeast Georgia. And I don't know, something in me was just like, we need to go. Because when I was going, when the state tried to take me from my mother, there were like multiple people that my mother could have given me to. And my mom was like, okay, I want to give her. Like, my Aunt Annabelle was like, okay, I'll take Kari. But my dad's mom was like, I'm her dad's mom. So be so fucking happy. So I ended up going with my dad's mom, but my Aunt Annabelle wanted me, and she always reached out to me. She always was like, I want to see Kariyana. So when she died, I was like, I'm gonna go to the funeral. I'm not gonna sing. I don't want to sing. I don't even want anybody in my family to know that I even know how to sing. I'm gonna just go sit in the pews and record and make my little TikToks like, ooh, my favorite better than y'all, because they all know how to sing, and try to pretend. And so, me and my mother's relationship is like, me and my relationship with everybody is me fucking with people, like saying shit. Okay, now, I don't know what's going on. My phone is on Do Not Disturb. All of the people is calling me. Hey. But she was like, I really want you to come. And I was like, Mom, I'm not feel like doing nothing. She was like, you need to come. So I go and I'm sitting in the pews. And like I said, my relationship to everybody is me getting on people's nerves. So my mom was just up there giving all of the people the notes because people getting older, they start to lose their sound. So nobody could hear. So my mom was up there giving us. I was like, I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna go fuck with my mom. So I'm sitting in the pew, fucking with my mom and singing the notes. And my cousin's like, you're finna sing at the funeral. And I'm like, I'm not singing at the funeral because I got a concert to go to, bitch. So fuck off. But I'm sitting in the choir singing. And so we sing the song. And then the Holy Ghost comes. And I don't know if y'all have ever seen or experienced people experiencing the Holy Ghost, but it is a real thing. I'm so sorry to the girls who do not believe in Jesus. I'm so sorry to the girls who do not believe in divination. I don't know what the Holy Ghost is, but it's motherfucking something, okay? And so keep in mind, it's me, it's my cousin, my aunt, it's my family. We're my family church. Like, this is the church that when my grandfather killed the slave master that tried to kill him, changed his last name to Calloway, moved to this part of Georgia, and was a part of the founding of this church. So my ancestors is all in that bitch. They walk around in it. That is their church. That is Calloway Church. So I already be having I already feel like I have these spiritual gifts. I hate talking about this because people don't believe in this in the academy. And I'm like, girl, I don't know what to tell y'all. I be seeing shit.
You're talking to the right one.
Okay. I be like, girl, I be seeing shit. I be hearing shit. There I don't smoke cigarettes. Why are there cigarettes smoked in my house? And I'm like, I smoke weed, but I don't smoke cigarettes. Auntie Claudia, what do you want today? Like, that's how it is. And so the Holy Ghost fell, and I saw everybody. I saw everybody in the crowd. I saw everybody. And I was playing this tambourine. So the percussion, the beat, the drum, and I'm like, this is indigenous as fuck. And just like that, and then I was just like in a trance, like, what the fuck is happening? Like, just watching, like sitting in the pew where my mother sat, where my grandmother sat, where her grandmother's like sitting in the thick of that lineage and experiencing the Holy Ghost was one of the most that's why I call it shakequake, because it felt like a fucking earthquake happened. And I was just sitting there because they are used to that, because they I have a distance from it because I don't want to church anymore. But sitting in it and being like, oh, this shit is real still, even after I've been like, this is some real shit. This shit is real. That shit is not a game. That shit is real. And so, like I said, my aunt's daughter showed, and my cousin is in the corner. My cousin Twan is in the corner shouting. He just was gonna get his breakthrough. I don't know what he had going on. And he shouted. And so my mom, because where he was trying to get his breakthrough, he was in the corner, in the corner shouting, giving God all he had. And so my mom went down to go direct the choir, and my grandmother is a choir master. So I'm watching my grandmother, my mother stand where my grandmother stood, directing the choir, and I'm seeing my Aunt Annabelle sit where my Aunt Annabelle sat in the choir, and I see my Auntie Jeannie, who died that February, sitting up at the top in the mezzanine. I'm seeing all of this shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then everything is calming down, And I'm on Instagram y'all, everybody just fucked the Holy Ghost, literally. And then my mom starts words start to slur. And then my cousin looks at her and she's like, Wanda, are you having a stroke? And my mom started having a stroke. And I'm like, not this bitch is having a stroke after I just went into a trance. What the fuck? And so my mom, that stroke almost killed my mom. And she coded 3 times. And I was an emotional wreck, and I still had to fucking go to that goddamn concert. And I was like, I have to do this film so that my mom can be like, my daughter made something of our story that was not people talking shit about what she couldn't do for me as a child. Because I thought that my mom was gonna die. And I was like, I'm not going to allow people to think that my mama didn't love me, because that's not the truth. Because the narrative is oh, you can't take care of your kids, you don't love them, or oh, you can't do this for your child, you're insubordinate, and I didn't want people to think that. And in the time from me being a child and me being an adult, my mother and I had worked on our relationship enough to where I could differentiate, and also having a degree in Black studies or women gender studies helped me to comb through some of the violence I had experienced as a child. And I was like, oh, this is the stage. This is not my mom. Oh, this is this is not my mother. This is anti-Blackness. And so in me knowing that, and in me being the only child out of all of her kids, going to college, and I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to present at the funeral? if my mom fucking dies. And I'm like, I'm already working on this. Like, I'm like, okay, the film thing crossed my mind. And I was like, I'm gonna do a film. And I feel like once I was like, I'm doing the film, every step was ordered. Like, my mom survived, which I was like, I don't know, it's gonna be like, my mom was like a roach, like, after everybody died, like, not on no anti-black shit, but my mom was like, after my mom has so many ailments that the bitch just is never gonna die. It's scary. And so, like, after all of us die, my mom is just gonna be here, and we feel like that. And so, like, I don't know, like I said, I had to find something, I had to figure something out. She didn't die, thank God, because I just be still needing her so bad. Even as she is now. And I was just like, how am I going to frame this story? And I was like, still trying to frame it, like, without telling and putting myself into it. And like, my ancestors was like, no. And then I started hearing that motherfucking sound in my ear. And I was like, all right, let's go down. And then, like, I got sick as hell. I started having, like, reproductive problems. I was like bleeding for a year, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna have a baby, but it might not be, it might be this film, okay, and they, like, every step, being able to find money to pay to go to New York, being able to, like, I'm like, okay, I wanna shoot with a Super 8. No, getting sick and being like, I can't physically direct a dance cohort. What am I going to do? Magically, somebody is like, I know a friend who has a friend who is a director who is looking to do some directing. Boom. Now I have somebody to direct it. Not knowing how to make a sound. Magically, one day, Ray's like, let's have a party. Let's meet Kamari. Let's meet Zuri. So now it's just like the steps was just ordered. And I was just like, well, God, I'm going to just sit back. I'm going to just do what you want me to do. Not going to my ancestors. I was like, I'm going to just sit back and I'm going to just let y'all do what y'all do. And now we're here.
The rest is history. The rest is an archive.
You're right. So,
we did one open.
Right, because I talk too fucking much. Don't say that I'm from Atlanta.
But if y'all have any questions real quick, y'all put it on your coat, so I don't think so. Zoom, if you have any questions, send them real quick. We're gonna take 30 seconds. Let us know.
Yes. Let me take a break.
No questions, but hey. All right. Well, when Kari comes back, I guess we'll wrap up. Oh, look at her. Yeah, so.
Want to say any final things to the camera?
So thank you everybody for coming. This has been a really cool time, like a really cool atmosphere, really cool vibe, as the kids say these days.
Yes, thank you all for coming. Really enriching experience. I think it was the perfect way to close out. It was kind of like an experimental project for Zuri and myself, putting on some programming around Black art and Black artists.
And thank you to Rites and Reason Theatre.
Yes.
Thank you to Gina. Thank you to Kathy.
Professor
Elmo. Alonzo. Catherine.
George Houston Bass.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
So,
thank you all. And thanks to Zuri.
thanks to Melaine. Give me a high five. Okay, we're done. Thank you.